You guys ever seen those Indian movies where they're like at a funeral? Everybody's sad, but then all of a sudden, pop music comes on and everybody starts dancing. What's up with that? That kind of made me want to play in India, so today we'll be covering the spiciest of nations, Gujarat, and for 8,000 likes, we'll also do a video on Bengal, the best Indian playing toll nation. The amount of flavor that Gujarat has is enough to start your very own Indian restaurant. Why do I say this? Well, aside from the insanely great mission tree that you start with, you start also with 5 estates, and you're the only nation in the world that starts with a Zoroastrian province in the province of Daman, aside from Yazd, of course, so I guess you're not the only nation in the world. We're just gonna ignore Yazd and we're gonna say Daman is the only province that has Zoroastrian, okay, for the time being. And we're gonna actually spawn Zoroastrian rebels by sending a missionary here, and after the rebels pop out, we're gonna let them convert our nation to Zoroastrian once we get 50% Zoroastrian of our provinces. Until that point, let's get our rivals first. Let's go with Mewar as our first rival, Bahmanis, as well as Malwa, all 3 nations that border us over here, here, and here. And we also start with Kors, that is correct, Kors on Mewar, as well as Kutch. Now, from my experience, 90% of the times what happens is Kutch does not get any significant allies, or they get sometimes Sindh as an ally, so if that's the case, we're gonna attack Kutch first. Otherwise, we're gonna attack Mewar first, so we can also get the juicy Mewari gold mine, the only gold mine in this entire region, aside from the one in Tibet, of course, but that's not India, that's Tibet, doesn't count. We also need to build a fort in Ahmedabad in order to do this mission that offers us claims on a lot of land. So in order to do that, we're gonna need to get some money. That means we gotta do our estates. Let's go with the monthly +1 admin, the +1 military as well, and the +1 diplo. And we have 3.75 crownlands remaining. We also can give the Jain clerical class for extra development cost reduction, Brahmin legitimacy to rule for the extra religious unity. This will help especially if you're planning on switching over to Zoroastrian, as you're gonna have religious unity problems. And very important, guys, we're gonna go for the indebted to the Jains, which offers us 5 loans of 1% interest, which means we start with 250 ducats, and we can build with these 250 ducats the fort in Ahmedabad. It's gonna take a few years until this is finished, so we're gonna use these few years in order to take over Kutch or Mewar, and after this is finished, we get the claims on all of these boys here. We're also gonna go for the lenient taxation policy, which offers us some diplo reputation, and let's not forget to also seize Zekrunlands, as well as adopt the title of Wiz Khalifa and enforce religious unity. I also recommend to set your missionary maintenance to 0 because not really converting this, we're just trying to piss off the rebels. And of course, it would not be a Ludi video without the free company, so we're gonna get these boys in Ahmedabad as well. Alliance-wise, you can try and go for Baluchistan as an early ally, which is essentially to prevent them from allying Sindh or Kutch for that matter. Other than that, I recommend you get some proper allies after you've actually expanded a little bit, and try and get your allies into the east or parts of the world that you're not going to be expanding into in the early game. Well, these guys so far did not get any alliances. Mewar did get 3 allies, so I assume I'm going to go for Kutch. Yeah, actually, it's already the 11th. I forgot to declare my war. Sadly, they didn't ally Sindh. I would have liked that to happen. This way, it would have been a lot easier for me to take all of these parts in the early part of the game. Let's also make our leader a general. Looks like it's turning into a little bit of a Benny Hill show again, where they're literally just running away from me, and I'm basically sieging down the entirety of their country. But we did catch up to them, and this is going to be a defense battle because it is... Oh, did they just get Condottieri? Oh boy, they got Condottieri. Let's get out of there with this army. As I was saying, defensive battle, they got -2 dice roll by default, which is essentially a very easy stack wipe. Let's try and kill off the Condottieri they got as well whilst we're at it. Oh lol, Kandesh is actually fighting them. My beloved vassal has committed is a stack in Vapenicum. Noise. Absolutely great vassal right there. Righto, that's our first conquest finito. Now we can core the newly added provinces, and we can also stab up once for that matter. We're also getting claims on everybody around us whilst we're waiting for the fort in Ahmedabad to finish. I was initially thinking about attacking Mewar, but they just got proclaimed guaranteed by Jaunpur, so I'm actually gonna have to attack Mewar via one of their alliances. What I mean by this is I'm gonna attack a nation that's allied to Mewar. Do not co-belligerate Mewar to prevent Jaunpur from joining in. This is gonna be the easiest one since they don't really have any allies. It's literally just me against them. Arrivederci, Wunderbar. Let's get the army ready for the second war as well. This is going to be against these boyos here, and we're not co-belligerating Junarg because that's going to bring in mewar. We're going to go to war with mewar via Gohilvad, not these other guys. Not to worry about a little bit of extra aggressive expansion. And yeah, boys, Adietsky. Let's chase down the other army now. My vassal strikes again, and they managed to hold them off for long enough for me to stack wipe them, but my vassal lost their army. So can we get an F in the chat for the army of Kandesh, the greatest vassal that ever lived? About time we got this freaking fort done, sir. There you go. Now we got all the claims, boyos, all the juicy claims, so we can have unlimited warfare right after this one. Oh, really, bahmanis? You actually had to take this? Oh man, now my entire country is split in half. I'm gonna have to go to war with bahmanis now in order to actually merge up my lands between me and my vassal. I really like the fact that with the latest patch, they keep giving me unconditional surrender after I get their entire lands. It kind of makes it easier for the AI to basically peace out if they're not the main target of the war, and as such, it makes it harder for the player to actually mess around with the AI. Look at this, boys. These guys out vijayanagar mewar, and they're also guaranteed by bahmanis. So for this one province minor, I'd have to go to war with half of India. Alright, time to do the next war. This time it's against Palitana and mewar. Remember, we did not co-belligerate mewar, so we're not going to be able to take too much stuff from them, but we still can take a few things. We really just want Gorwar and mewar for the gold mine, and because this one's already a core of ours, and by getting that province, we also do the Rajputana frontier mission that offers us permanent claims on the entirety of the mewar area. A great battle will happen on the fields of Burhampur. Please win. I really need you to win. Oh my lord, they actually got a really great shock general. Did not expect them to have such a great general. Gonna have to be careful with them. Let's also get military technology, so we should be a little bit ahead of tech compared to them. They are really close to where my Zoroastrian rebels are gonna spawn, and I really don't want them to kill off my Zoroastrian rebels, so I'm gonna have to actually wipe out their army to prevent that from happening now. Yes, swine, get out of my land, eh? We might be able to catch some more of them over here. Nice. At this point, they got 4,000 units left, so even if the rebels spawn, they should win at 4,000 units. Hot diggity dong, it seems like Mewar's no more. Hey, look at that, boys. We got the Zoroastrian rebels in the province of Daman, just like I planned it. Now, it's time for them to start converting the rest of the nation. So we gotta be at peace because we don't want any enemy army killing off the Zoroastrian rebels, do we? Obviously, Mewar is gonna accept every single one of our demands. Maybe not giving up claims, apparently, but this is fine with me. I'm taking two provinces, the provinces that I want, in Gorwar, and now we can do this mission. So for the next war against them, we got permanent claims on all of this, which means 25% cheaper to core up all of that stuff after we take it. Palitana also is very much so bye-bye, and we got a few nations in a small little bit of a coalition against us, including, but not limited to, basically these boyos in the north that I couldn't give less of a schnitzel about, so it's a-okay. I mean, we do plan on chilling now, so it's not going to be any issue anyway, because we have to wait until half of our she becomes Zoroastrian, so we can make the switch now whilst we're still small before we continue expanding. Otherwise, it's going to be harder to get Zoroastrian the bigger we are. Also, we can use the legalism interaction to debase currency, get some free cash, and then lower the corruption after we debased, because we're not going to have Sunni Islam as our religion for too long, so we might as well take advantage of it. The rebels are about to arrive in my capital, so I'm going to mothball this fort, making it easier for the rebels to take it, and to make it even easier than that, we can also sortie from siege. This way they can kill off the entirety of the garrison and take the capital fort way faster. Otherwise, I'd have to wait for about 6-7 months before they actually take this. We're currently at 16%. We got to get over 50% to switch to Zoroastrian. If we accept the demands of these boys now, it's not going to happen. We're still going to be Sunni rather than Zoroastrian. I also recommend that you unsiege the provinces that have already been converted to Zoroastrian, because if you don't, you might risk these guys enforcing their demands without having 50% of the country Zoroastrian, which means you're going to get a stability hit for no reason, and you have to spawn them in a second time in order to switch to Zoroastrian. So just make sure you unsiege it. I had to take back the capital because otherwise they would have enforced without not having 50% of the land converted to Zoroastrian, but now we do have pretty much 50% converted to Zoroastrian. So as you can see, it shows here that it will become the new state religion once we accept the rebel demands. We also lose 50 prestige, so keep that in mind, and the ulema gets 10% of the crownlands, but we actually get a lot more crownlands now because we get rid of some of the other estates that we had, which overall means that we actually won a little bit. Not to mention, we got some of the rebels as a part of our army. The amount of rebels that you get depends on the land force limit that you have. So if my land force limit was 23, I would have gotten all 7 rebel units. I got less than 7 because my land force limit is 19 right now. We also have one of the holy sites, which as you can expect is the city of Daman. And because we have Daman, we can get one of these amazing aspects. I'm actually gonna go for missionary strength because I do have to convert the entirety of India to Zoroastrian. Also, we can go for the Rajput kingdom now. And let's also go ahead seize the crownland. So we got 35%. We can sell titles after. So we got a lot of money. Go ahead and get the rights of admission for extra missionary strength. And we can rekindle the old flames by having the holy cities of the Zoroastrian faith. But until that point, we have to start restructuring our armies. And we got to get ready for the big ass war that we're going to have. We had enough time to chill. And it's time for the big ass war against bahmanis. We're going to set Bagla as the war target. They're not going to get joined in by Koti. Not that that would actually matter because Koti is basically massively insignificant. And it's time to get 5 forts. Oh my god, they actually have 5 forts in bahmanis? No freaking way. Fair enough. We got to get the forts, boys. We got to get the forts. Whilst we wait for our aggressive expansion to cool down with the northern nations. Because remember, these guys are a different religion compared to the guys in the north. They are Shia, whilst everybody else here is Sunni. So I'm going to get less of aggressive expansion from taking these lands. Not to mention, their primary culture is Kannada, which is a part of the South Indian group. So again, less aggressive expansion with the North Indians. And oh boys, we got military tech 5, which means we have the Indian arquebusiers, which are a fire pip unit. And this is going to make a massive difference in this war. The worst thing that could happen now is them having reinforcements somewhere close by here, but they didn't have luckily enough. They're actually amassing a lot of troops around. They've recruited about 5,000 more, so I really got to be careful. And I got to keep my own troops pretty close together. Oh, my dude died. Are you serious? Oh man, this is horrible. And my heir is 2 years old. Let's try and push over on this army. Even though we get the -1 from crossing the river, we should still win that battle easily, since we have way more troops than they got. Bring over these boys to siege down the city of Satara as well. And they're down to 13,000 units with 1,000 manpower. I think it's safe to say I'm winning this, boys. I do need some troops to help out with the siege, and I'm gonna get the Gorkhali units so I can use them in order to siege down the forts a little bit faster. Hold up a second, what is happening here? Everybody just chewing on mewar, is it? Oh, this is really bad. This is actually really bad. I don't think there's gonna be any mewar left by the time I finish my truce with them, which is in 6 years from now. I feel like I have enough troops to actually counterattack them whilst they're sieging down this fort and still win that battle for that matter. Let's go, boys. All or nothing. Let's go do this. Let's also get a claim on Mal. 19,000 of our brave troops against theirs. They got 2 zeros, so that was a really easy win for us. Thank you so much, RNGesus. The fact that they got 5 forts is a little bit of a benefit as well as a debuff for them, because me controlling 2 of these forts is preventing them from even getting into my lands right now. So the entire war is happening on their grounds, which means that my economy is thriving and theirs is getting worse by the day. I'm really thinking about taking the lands that they have on the eastern coast, because then I'm gonna have access to Orissa, and by getting Orissa, I get access to the best trade node after the Gujarati trade node. Guess what? It's time for another defensive battle in the same province and another win in the same province. Normal people would go for a peace deal that looks a little bit like this, which makes sense, let's be honest, but then I'm going for a peace deal that looks like this. And yes, I'm getting a ton of aggressive expansion. No coalition, because like I mentioned before, different culture, different religion, nobody cares about them essentially. And I'm taking a lot less money than I can take. I could probably take 400 ducats, but I think the land is a lot more valuable than the ducats right now, since it allows me expansion into the entirety of India quite early on. We're still in 1461, boys. I'm not sure if they have any achievements for this nation. I guess the sun never sets on the Indian Empire as one. You have to form India, and then you gotta own certain cities around the world. If you guys want me to do that achievement, let me know in the comment section. I am, of course, going to be concentrating development in the lands that I just took, because they're not my main culture. Are you kidding me? I really was expecting expecting someone to actually attack Mewar. Looks like Nagawar is doing that though. They're allied to Jaunpur and Multan, so we got a common alliance in Jaunpur. I might attack them afterwards. My main target next is going to be obviously Malwa, or for that matter, I can also start munching into these lands that are left here. Let me start getting some claims. Seeing as my current mercenary companies don't have that much manpower left, I'm going to replace them, and I'm going to get the Grand Company as well as the Second Free Company, and I'm going to disband the Old Free Company in exchange. But the highlight of this whole situation is that I've managed to unlock 3 ideas, and I got the Garba, which gives me 50% religious unity. That is absolutely insane. That essentially means I can have 50% of my country a different religion, and I wouldn't have religious unity problems, making the first idea unlocked for this nation pretty goddarn pepega. Our country's pretty stable now. We don't really have many rebels left that will pop out, so we can actually start another war. Let's go against the nation of Orissa, and it looks like both of their allies would not join because of attitude towards enemy. Their allies love me? Oh my god, I need to get an alliance with them myself then. In any case, these guys have 7,000 units, so it should be a piece of cake, this war. They actually have less units than me attacking 3 nations here, which are allied to each other. Guess what, guys? I actually got the luxury goods in demand modifier for this province, which means I got +1 local goods produced, and I'm producing gold here, so that means I'm actually getting 7.8 ducats from gold alone, and it's not even at 10 production development. Speaking of, let's actually bring it up to 10, which means we're getting 9.14 now, almost 10 ducats from one province alone. Jaunpur really wants to join this war, don't they? You know what? Screw it, man. I'm gonna call them in the war. I don't mind actually getting a little bit of help from Jaunpur. This way, Jaunpur can deal with their armies whilst I'm just sieging down their lands. Oh, Jaunpur's so nice, guys. They're even killing off my rebels for me. Should I help Jaunpur killing off my rebels? I think they're fine. They don't need my help. Oh, we got rebels in this province. That's just karma right there. I guess, you know, because we're playing in India, we got karma. On the one hand, I could let army of Orissa continue to fight Jaunpur and both of them, you know, lose their troops and stuff, but I'm actually gonna peace out. I'm just gonna take this massive dash line for these 2 provinces, because in the next war I can take both of these and the other 3 nations here, because of the alliance sets that they have, it's literally all of them allied to each other and all of them joining in a potential coalition against me, but they cannot join a coalition if they're dead. Am I right, guys? Overall, this was pretty low development land though, like mostly 3 dev, 4 dev, 5 dev, so nothing amazing. The juicy stuff is actually in Cuttack, but Cuttack alone was more aggressive expansion than 5 of these provinces, and I really am just trying to blob out a bit, get my tentacles around, and I can start getting the juicy provinces after. Oh boy, look at this, guys. Grand Company has 0 troops left in their manpower pool. That means I gotta fire them, and I gotta get a new mercenary company again. Let's get a new rival. We can go with Bengal. Sounds pretty fine to me. Lowers the autonomy, of course, and let's actually hire the independent company, because we will have some pretty massive wars, and this is essentially 20,000 Chad lords that will win all of these wars for us. They got 48,000 manpower pool, more than enough for what's about to come. Let's deck on Chanda. Right now we have 2 nations in that coalition. Oh, you guys joined the coalition, bro. Oh, you know what? It's not that bad. As long as Vijayanagar doesn't join, I should deal with that coalition fairly easily. But of course, Vijayanagar joined the coalition. Feels bad, man. More money for the war machine. Thank you very much. We've also spawned in Renaissance in the province of Mewar by using a lot of our mana points. The reason I spawned it in Mewar is because I want to switch over to Rajasthani main culture. Having Rajasthani as our main culture means that I'm going to be able to form the nation of Rajputana, one of the strongest nations in the Indian subcontinent, and by using their national ideas together with the special monument that Zoroastrians have in here, I'm going to get more discipline overall than even the Prussians can get. Or if you really want to go hardcore, you can switch on over and form Prussia later as Zoroastrian. Let's actually use the money we got to embrace this, because we are a little bit behind with our technologies and we want to stay up to tech with everybody. Oh my dear, look how big our name is now, guys. The really epic part about Gujarat is that via your mission tree, you get permanent claims all around the African coastline, with growth of Surat giving you claims on Adan. Eventually, you even get claims on Yemen and the Mutapun lands all the way into Butua, as well as the Zambezi gold mines gives you a massive amount of ducats, and you can really this fairly early on if you specifically focus on these missions. So for me to unlock this entire branch, I just need to have 5 marketplaces, and I'm actually building a few right now. I think I just need one more built and then I can do that mission. So 8,000 likes for the Bengal guide, and check this awesome video until the next time. And I want to give a very big thank you to all of my channel members, Patreon members, as well as my Twitch supporters. I really wouldn't be able to do this without all of your support.